Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. I think the majority that we have registered have joined us now. It is 6 o'clock, so we're looking to get started promptly. My name's Kelly Heller. I am the Partnership and Programmes Manager for the West Sussex County Council Recycling and Waste team. And I say welcome and thank you for joining us. This afternoon, we are going through the new Waste Prevention Community Grant Fund. Just some housekeeping rules for you firstly. So you'll see that your microphones and your cameras are turned off. This is to ensure that we can run through the project in its entirety and without any interruptions. You'll be notified via your registration email that this session is being recorded. This is so that we can share on our social media channels and our website to assist others in completing the application. If you've got any concerns with this, please leave the webinar and we'll send you the recording to view at your own leisure. So there is a question and answer chat box at the top of your screen. Hopefully you can all see that. You can either use this to ask questions during the webinar as you think of them, or you may want to wait until the end as I may cover some of the questions throughout the session. We'll make sure that we have time at the end of the session to run through these with you. We'll also run through questions that we've received prior to this session. If we can't get to all of your questions, if we run out of time today, we will collate all your answers and we'll share with all attendees. The webinar should take no longer than 1 hour. However, this may be less, and recordings will be sent to all the attendees over the next few days. So let's get started. What is the Community Prevention Fund and how does it work? And why is it in place? So although the amount of household waste being managed in West Sussex is looking like it's decreasing, and this can be due to various reasons such as environment awareness, communications, cost of living crisis, we know through completing waste composition analysis that there are a lot of materials that are being thrown away that could be reused, repaired and upcycled, and alternative products that can be used to prevent waste in West Sussex. Whilst we're aware of some amazing community groups already in place tackling some of these issues for us, we know that there are areas that are missing out on those opportunities. So BIFA and West Sussex County Council have secured £50,000 to support a minimum of 10 community projects to provide support for community organisations and to deliver new or expanded innovative waste prevention and reuse initiatives into new areas, ultimately helping West Sussex residents keep items in use for longer, reducing consumption and waste. Who can apply to the fund? So any legally constituted organisation that operates as a community-based, non-profit making organisation is eligible to apply. These organisations include community neighbourhoods or voluntary groups that have an overarching community purpose that reaches beyond its membership, registered charities, schools, colleges and universities, not-for-profit organisations, so including social enterprises. This is a registered legal entity that does not make a profit for directors, members or shareholders, and parish and town councils. We would recommend that you check the eligibility criteria in the guidance document to ensure that your organisation meets our guidelines. And if you don't meet the standards of the criteria, unfortunately, we won't be able to accept or process your application. Who can't apply to the fund? So the primary focus for the funding is to reduce household waste in the county and to create new opportunities to increase prevention and reduce waste. Because of this, the funding cannot be awarded to individuals, business as usual activities, recycling projects, projects which focus on reducing business or commercial waste, including school waste, and projects where the impacts will be outside of the county council's area, and projects that already exist. So the fund criteria then, so there is a set of fund criteria that each applicant must meet. The maximum amount awarded to each project will be £5,000. There is no minimum amount. Each project must have a demonstrated impact in preventing household waste. Be innovative to new services and introductions of new projects to local areas that have already proven to reduce household waste elsewhere. Projects must have the ability to be sustained post-funding and have an ongoing impact in the community. Social and community benefits must be included in your application, and experience in successfully delivering previous projects will also be assessed. Please note that the funding will be awarded to the highest scoring applications, subject to grant funds being available. Projects will also be funded for 12 months and delivered in 25-26. So just looking to the objectives then, so these are detailed within your guidelines. Applications will be scored using the scoring matrix and award criteria, which we'll find attached in the supporting documents section on the Your Voice portal. Applications must include detail on how the activity will impact on the population within the county. Evidence the activity is not duplicated in the local area, for example, in the district, town or parish that is already taking place. Evidenced and measurable reductions in the amount of household waste, for example, through furniture reused or food diverted from waste, is evidence and measurable and detailed clearly in your application. Social benefits are identified, for example, any jobs or volunteer posts created and the number of residents that are trained. Evidence and research has been undertaken of who the project is likely to directly engage with and how the project is innovative or new to the local area. So the types of projects, and so there are various projects that we're particularly interested in which cover the main material themes, in particular food waste. So looking at food waste prevention via cookery classes, potentially linking in with community fridges, food hubs, providing residents with skills and knowledge to reduce food waste by either education on portion control, storage habits, planning shopping and cooking with leftovers. Furniture, so looking at restoration opportunities for unwanted furniture, which may be suitable for reuse, repair or repurposing. And these activities could also provide opportunities to develop new skills and reduce waste. Plastic, so projects looking to reduce dependence on single-use plastics, conserving resources and protecting the environment from plastic pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. So for example, toy libraries or toy swaps. This would not look to cover recycling collections of any type of plastics. Nappies, educating residents and encouraging them to move from single-use nappies to reusable nappies, so nappy libraries, education and resources. Textiles are sometimes thrown away unnecessarily, as we all know, especially when they're often suitable for repair and reuse. So we would want to be looking to reduce the amount of textiles being thrown away. And this could be done by either repair and repurposing workshops, sewing classes, or events such as clothes swaps. Electrical items that are broken or unwanted, many of them could be reused or repaired, so helping to save natural resources and reducing damage to the environment and creating social value, so events such as repair and reuse workshops or a library of things. Just to go into a little bit of detail about the application process then, so as you all know, the portal is open and it's open until Sunday the 2nd of March. Only eligible groups should apply, and if you're not one of the groups detailed within the guidance, or if your project does not take place in West Sussex, the portal will not allow you to further complete the application. All proposals must be submitted using the online application portal Your Voice, completing all of the questions and uploading required documents, and I'll run through these for you on the next slide. The portal only works with compatible browsers, so Microsoft Edge version 86 and above, Chrome version 86 and above, Firefox version 78 and above, or Safari version 14 and above. We do recommend that you register before completing the application, as this will enable you to save and return to a draft application. If you don't register, this function will be unavailable and could result in the loss of information. Make sure you read through your application carefully before pressing submit, as you will not be able to return to your application to amend or provide further information once you've submitted. It is essential that you upload all supporting documents as requested, as the application will be scored down if supporting documentation is not provided. We recommend that you read through the FAQ section and the guidelines prior to completing an application to assist you in gathering information, documents for submission, and to fully understand the requirements for the application itself. We've provided templates to assist you in the planning of your application, all of which can be downloaded from the Your Voice portal. If you've got any questions regarding your application that are not covered in the FAQ page or in the guidelines, then you can contact us for further information via our email address. The mandatory documentation. So these applications must include all of this mandatory documentation, which are, like I say, are all downloadable from the portal. So this includes a clear proposal of how your project will meet the objectives using the project plan template. So this is available on the Your Voice application portal and can be uploaded to the portal. You'll need to complete the risk assessment documentation for your project and any related activity. Again, this can be uploaded to the portal and downloaded from the Your Voice application portal. A completed budget for your project using the budget breakdown template needs to be also uploaded, and again, this can be downloaded from the Your Voice portal. As you go through the application, you'll note that there are other requests for information, so it may be a good idea to get this information to hand and ready for you when you begin completing your application. Copies of current public liability and employers' liability insurance certificates should be uploaded to the portal if you have them. If you don't, please confirm this within your application. So the amount of insurance that is required is 10 million public liability, 5 million employers' liability, 2 million product liability, and 2 million professional indemnity. However, like I say, if you don't have these and if your project is successful, we will need to discuss your activity with our insurance team, who will complete a risk assessment on your activity and will potentially provide a waived sum. This cost will need to be covered within the amount of funding that you request. So it may be worth doing some investigation into how much the insurance will cost you and include this in your budget breakdown to ensure that other deliverables aren't affected. We need to see copies of audited accounts for the last financial year. These need to be uploaded to the portal if you are not registered as a charity, KIC or CIO. Evidence of DBS checks are required if you have them. A copy of the governing document, your constitution, memorandum, articles of association or set rules. Evidence of match funding from a third party if applicable and uploaded to the portal. We will also need to see a copy of your bank statement from the last 3 months. This should be clear and not redacted. It should show the name and address of your organisation, the account number and sort code, and the account balance. Our request for a bank statement falls in line with the current data protection requirements. So if payments have been made to individuals, you can redact these, and this can be uploaded to the application portals now that they're open. If you have them, Equal Opportunities Policy Statement, Health and Safety Policy Statement, and a copy of your staffing structure would be beneficial. We have several other documents available for you to review, which may be of help when you're completing your application. So we have a copy of the grant agreement template, which will be used if you are successful. This will be a grant agreement between West Sussex and the successful applicants. We've got an average weight calculation sheet, so this can help when you are looking to evidence the amount of waste that you are looking to divert from your activity. We have an offer template which will be provided to you if you are successful. We also have a decline template. The scoring matrix template is extremely useful for you to review, as this provides you with the information that we will be looking to score and evaluate your application on. Again, the guidance document, the application questions and the monitoring form template are all available for you to review. We just have a video here to show you how to submit your application. Sarah is going to take over just talking through. This is a silent video, but Sarah's going to take over talking that through.
Thank you very much, Kelly. So this is just to show what the application portal looks like for anyone who hasn't had a chance to look at it yet. When you first open it, it will ask for certain pieces of information, such as the legal structure of your organisation, whether you're a charity, school, college, that sort of thing. We do ask where your project will take place. Obviously, it needs to be in West Sussex. Information will be required about the organisation, what your legal name is, what type of organisation it is, and then a little bit about your project, what your project name is, how we would contact you about this. So information such as email address, telephone numbers, that sort of thing. All of these questions are mandatory, so we will need that information. Things like charity number or company house number, if those are available. And organisation address. Obviously, some of these may be the same as contact details. That's absolutely fine. Please just enter them a second time if the information is the same. Much of this is information that we do need for insurance purposes, legal purposes, that sort of thing. So as you work through the application form, you will see that there will be instances where there will be things such as questions about public liability insurance, employee insurance. Obviously, Kelly has mentioned those. If you don't have them, just tick the none of the above box. That's absolutely fine. That's a conversation that we can have with you if you don't have those available. If you do, we will ask for them later on in the form. Again, lead contact details. This will just be the person that we will be speaking to chiefly about the project. As you work through the form, if you have registered on the Your Voice application portal, you will be able to save and come out of this form at any point. So we do strongly recommend that you do register, because as you can see, there's quite a lot of information here that we're asking for. We ask for a summary of your aims and objectives of your organisation. There are character limits on some of these questions. A little bit more information that we require about whether you have any other funding, if you are applying to anybody else for funding. Again, if the answer is a yes, we will ask for more information. If it's a no, then we won't. Moving on to the actual project itself. How is your project going to impact residents in West Sussex? What does your project do that maybe others don't? And then a bit more information here about, the evidence of who it is you'll be supporting, what it is that's innovative about your project, what methods it is that you use in your project. So obviously it is quite a lot of information, but if you look at the scoring matrix that's available, that's where this comes into play, because you can kind of see what it is that we're asking for and why it is we're asking for it. A little bit of financial information, just asking how much of a grant it is you're applying for, obviously up to £5,000, whether there's any match funding. This is where the mandatory documentation is. So when you click upload file, it will basically just open up your files on your machine and just ask you to pop this information in. Obviously, there's a fair number of these. Some of them you won't have, such as evidence of third-party funding, for example. That's absolutely fine. Just don't pop anything in there if you don't. The declaration obviously is very important. It just goes through the terms and conditions which are available on our website. Just ask you again to confirm your details and which organisation it is you're applying on behalf of. And as long as you get that in before the closing date, we will then put that through for the application process. As Kelly said, very whistle-stop tour, but that's just to give you an idea of what the application portal looks like and what it is you'll see when you go in to fill in your application. So I will hand back to Kelly.
Thank you. So moving on to the key dates then. So as you know, the portal is open and it's open till the 2nd of March. During March into April, we will be reviewing the submissions and scoring and evaluating against that scoring matrix, and we will be presenting to the project board in order to make decisions on the successful applicants. We'll be completing the risk assessment reviews and then providing the grant agreements to the successful applicants, and then looking to the projects to start in May. So just some detail around if you are successful. So as I say, the insurance levels will need to be reviewed and agreed. The specifications for the project delivery will be completed and added to that grant award agreement. We will be looking to review the finances and agree the schedules, and that will be detailed within the specification. The grant agreement will be awarded, and then quarterly reporting will be set up with the successful applicants. We will work with the successful applicant to create communication plans and make sure that they are delivered in partnership with West Sussex and Biffa. And then we will be looking to complete project visits and at the end of the project, make sure that we are supporting each of the applicants to complete an end of project report. So that's very, very quick, as Sarah says, whistle stop tour. We're now on to the part where it's handing over to you really, and just seeing if anybody's got any questions for us.
So if you do have any questions, if you could pop them into the Q&A box that is available through the webinar system. We did have a couple of questions through before the webinar started. The first one asked why we aren't funding existing schemes. So hopefully Kelly has answered this question. But just to clarify, there is funding available for the expansion of existing schemes. So if you wish to cover new geographical areas or open up to new audiences, but what we can't do is supply funding for projects that are already running if they're not making any major changes or not looking to sort of reach new areas. And essentially this is designed so that we can help fund as many new innovative schemes as possible, as well as allowing existing schemes to reach more people and to help prevent more waste. So hopefully that clarifies that. Thank you to the attendee who sent that one in. And somebody did have a question about the application form. They said, do we have to fill the whole application form in? It seems very complicated. Hopefully we've put any questions like that to rest this evening. We put your minds at ease. As we've mentioned, all of the questions, all the applications we receive will be assessed based on the scoring matrix, which you can download from the Your Voice application portal. We use the scoring matrix to create the application form. So essentially the system means that everybody is judged based on the same criteria. It adds a level of fairness to the process. It also means that as a publicly funded body, we have to be able to provide detailed information as to where we spend budget and why we've allocated what we do. So by requesting this information in the application form, that allows us to have the level of information required should we come under an audit, for example. So that's a couple of questions that we had through beforehand. We have just had one question in the Q&A. Will you cover new services to existing environmental monthly events? I will pass to Kelly on that one in just a second, but I would say that that would entirely depend on the scope of the services, what benefit it is that they're bringing to those events, whether that's bringing in a new audience or covering new materials. But it's absolutely something that if you had a bit more detail on that, if you wanted to drop us an email, we're quite happy to provide a bit of further information. Obviously, all of the applications that we get will be judged by or based on the scoring matrix, so it will depend on things like what waste prevention levels there are within the new services, how it would affect reuse or that sort of thing. But if you do want to pop an email to us, then we can pick that one up in the week. Kelly, I don't know if you want to add anything onto that.
No, I think that's perfectly answered. Thank you, Sarah. We're quite clear it needs to be a new service. If it's a new service in a particular area that is diverting a different type of waste away from household waste, then we'd be interested.
Super. We had a question in prior to the recording, which did ask how the funding will be paid. This is covered in the FAQs that are on our website, but essentially the funding would be paid into an organisational bank account. There are certain stipulations around those organisational bank accounts, so you would need to have 2 independent signatories. They can't be related, they can't live at the same address. Generally, we would pay by BACS transfer, which is an electronic bank transfer. we would then ask for things like, that's why we ask things like up-to-date bank statements. If a BACS payment isn't possible, we can send a cheque to the organisation, and the funding will generally be paid in 2 or 3 stages of payment. Obviously, this will depend on things like the timeframe of the project, the scope of the project. First payment would be made in advance, and then subsequent payments will be based upon monitoring reports, just showing how the project is progressing, making sure that we're hitting all of the key deadlines that everybody's agreed to, that sort of thing. And the other question that we had through prior was, I'm a business, why can't I apply? So obviously there's a lot of different groups that can apply, charities, community interest companies, KICs, that sort of thing. And essentially it's because the fund is designed to support products that directly impact the reduction and prevention of household waste. So anyone who operates as a community-based not-profit organisation is eligible, but because it is specifically about the community and about the household waste, that's why it is that businesses aren't able to apply. Thank you very much to everybody who sent those questions in to us. We don't seem to, oh no, we have just had a question. I was about to say we haven't got any more questions, and one's just popped up. What is classed as new? Do you mean a completely new venture, or would you consider a young project?
It needs to be a new project. So it's something that is not already being delivered in that particular area. I think that's as sort of, yeah, as detailed as we can be. It needs to be a new service delivering in that particular area. So something that's not already being delivered to residents and having an impact on that particular type of household waste in that area.
We've also just been asked, if successful, when does the funding need to be spent by? So we do have some information on our website about the lengths of the projects. We do ask the projects run for, I believe it's up to a year. The funding does all need to be issued by us within that first year. But obviously the question, when does the funding need to be spent by? That will depend very much on the scope of the project. What we're not looking to do is provide funding now for a project that isn't going to come into operation until, say, 2027. We are looking for projects that will be running through the next financial year. Kelly, I don't know if you want to add any more onto that.
No, that's absolutely yeah, perfect. So the funding will need to be spent by March 2026.
Another question just come in. What happens if you do not have successful candidates? Would the money roll over? Would you then consider young ventures?
If we don't have successful candidates, I'm hoping that we don't get into that position, but if we do, we will need to look at that situation, and then we would need to work with our legal team and our members to review the situation and potentially change the funding criteria and eligibility.
And then another question has come in, is there no window for work which starts small? As Kelly said earlier, there's no minimum funding spend, so there is absolutely scope for small projects. I think what we're saying when we talk about expansion and that sort of thing is that if it is a project currently being delivered, that is when we would look for something slightly bigger in a different area or with a different audience. If you are looking at funding a new project that is small, then by all means get in touch with us, take a look at the application process, see if it's something that the funding could assist with. Not every project has to apply for the full 5,000. If you're looking at a project that maybe needs £500 to get it off the ground, do contact us, do take a look at the application, and if you have more detailed questions about a specific project, you can drop us an email, and we can try to be of assistance. Obviously what we can't do is say whether or not a project would definitely be funded without having the full application, but we are happy to offer assistance where we're able to.
And I'll just come in on there, Sarah. So as Sarah says, if it's a smaller venture with a smaller requirement of funding, that's absolutely fine. Please put your application in. Reviewing the scoring matrix, obviously it is a positive if there is legacy to that project. So we do look to score against the ability to be able to continue that service in the community after the 12 months, so after that funding stops. So we would look for any applicant to be able to evidence how they would be able to continue that into the local community after that funding has been spent.
So to follow on from that, the question or a question in the Q&A, can we make an application for a one-off event? One of the criteria that we would be scoring on would be the legacy of the use of the funding, so what the ongoing impact is. So it's definitely worth considering that if you are making an application for a one-off event. We've also had a question, is the fund new or has it run before? Can we look at previously funded projects? If so, the fund is new for us in West Sussex. Similar funds have run in other areas of the UK. I will pass to Kelly because I don't know whether that's something that we would want to comment on, because obviously it's not something that we've funded before.
Yeah, that's fine. So we've worked closely with Hampshire and with Merseyside, as we know that they've run successful projects similarly to us with funding. So they have run and supported various different other community groups, such as repair workshops, cooking in the community, so preventing food waste and that sort of thing. So certainly if you wanted to have a look at the different types of successful community groups with services that they've been providing to members of the public, then have a look on Hampshire and certainly Merseyside. They've got some good examples.
Another question, would you fund an extension to an existing project where the extension is increasing the amount of waste that is reused?
I would say put your application in and we can review. It's a difficult one. We are looking to provide new services into new areas. We know that there are some great community groups out there already providing services to residents. So for example, a repair workshop once a week. What we're trying to do is expand that offering across the county. So it's great that the community group is able to offer that on a Monday, but how about looking to offer that into a different area of the community to provide different residents with the ability to use that service and prevent household waste. So if that group was already supplying a service in that particular area, but just wanted to expand to maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday, for example, so it operates 3 days a week, that's not something that we would be looking into. However, if they wanted to expand into a different area, providing residents with another opportunity, then that's something that we would be interested in. I hope that answers the question.
Another question has just come in. They're coming in thick and fast now. We are opening our project in Feb. Will this be acceptable?
In February next year, I presume, or is that this year?
I don't know. It just says in Feb. Working on the assumption that it's February of this year, we wouldn't be able to provide funding for that because our funding won't actually be available until after the application portal has closed, and it does not close until March, unfortunately. I'm just jumping across because we are having a couple of questions in the chat as well as the Q&A. I think that we've answered all the questions that we've had in. Yes, they've just confirmed that that is February of this year. So unfortunately, I don't believe that we would be able to offer support on that one because we wouldn't be able to provide any funding until after the application portal has closed. Thank you very much for all those questions. I don't think we have any more. Let me just jump across to the two. No, it looks like that's all the questions that we have had in for this evening. As I said, if you do have any other questions that aren't covered by the FAQ on our website, and you are unsure of anything to do with the application, then you can drop us an email and we will do our best to help out over there.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
So if there are no more questions, I think that we can probably draw it to a close. Oh, you see, I said if there's no more questions. Do we have your email addresses? You should have our email address. Anybody who has been in touch with the Waste Prevention Fund should have our email address, but what we will do once we've got the video of this webinar online is we will be sending an email out to everybody. Kelly's beaten me to it. She's put it up on the screen. That was me, you see, stalling so that I could get the email address. But yes, we will be sending a copy of this video out to everyone who has attended, as well as popping it up on our YouTube channel. The email address is on the screen now, though, so you can contact us via that. I will hand back to Kelly to finish off.
Yep, so thank you very much to everyone that's joined us. And like Sarah says, if you do have any queries, questions, or anything while you're going through your application, please let us know. You've got our contact details, and we look forward to receiving all those great applications from you. Thank you.